Story 1, her inability to load the dishwasher in any way that makes sense is not really worth making a fuss over. Story 2, stop smoking please. I want to spend a long life with you, not watch you die of lung cancer. I also do not want to be a nag about this. Story 3, drinking. For the love of God, stop. It's routine as well as eating large amounts of cheese and candy bars before bed. I get cravings and having a sweet tooth is normal, but he would lose a lot of weight and feel much better if he stopped drinking alcohol and snacking, especially an hour before bed. Story 4, my mental health is important. My wife often says something like, "That is unfortunate. You know how I was telling you about that woman at work?" Then she gets frustrated when I talk to my friends about it instead of her. It is not her fault. I think she just does not know how to respond. But at some point, you just stop trying to bring it up. Story 5, sex, just sex in general. It only comes up when it absolutely must. And even then, I can see her recoiling from the conversation and waiting for it to be over. I have tried being serious about it, and she is annoyed that it is bothering me. I have tried being fun with it, but then she does not take any outcome very seriously. If we were not married for 13 years and had children, I think most people would say we are sexually incompatible, which is heartbreaking because I genuinely love her. Story 6. Our son will not develop a relationship with you without effort. You cannot just play with him and spend time with him only when it is convenient for you and expect him to see you as anything other than a human toy. Story 7. I want to do more productive things rather than waste the day away. But when I suggest doing productive things, I get sighs and eye rolls. Then, when nothing is done, it's, "Oh, we should really take care of this stuff." When I try to do these things myself, I am interrupted multiple times. When I take a break from these tasks, I get, "Oh, you're finally done." I'm not done, but I would be if I weren't doing this alone. Basically, my partner seems to only want to do fun things, and it makes me annoyed. Story 8. I have no idea what is going on with me. I am constantly anxious, upset, and irritated. I see no future and envy many people, including him. The worst part is that I am mostly unable to communicate properly. I feel ashamed because of all this. Story 9-1. He is dabbling in a substance abuse issue. While I haven't explicitly told him, I have suggested breaks and other measures. He is one anxiety attack away from me seriously talking to him about it. I was the one who dumped his whiskey. He didn't finish it. His family really gets on my nerves. This may just come out one day soon because I am too pregnant to deal with their behavior much longer. This will not be a surprise, as he has already seen me distance myself from them. Story 10. They have a hoarding issue and refuse to get rid of things that are clearly past their use. Old kids' toys and clothes, schoolwork from when they were a child, half-finished or not started projects that we cannot scrap, donations that never get donated, things to sell but haven't found the right person yet, and so on. I have tried to bring it up, but I usually get criticized. I just want a non-cluttered house. They even make comments about my parents' home and say, "Wow, everything is so clean and organized. I wish ours was like this." I sometimes get anxiety, considering that is the house I grew up in, and I now live in a completely opposite environment. Story 11. I hate trying to talk to him about his hygiene because he does not care about it as much as I do and will dismiss me. Also, something is going on that is making him much more forgetful of basic things, as if his focus is elsewhere. That has been worrying me, but sometimes I feel like I cannot talk to him about it. Story 12, snuff. He started using it during a stressful time in our marriage. Also, he quit brushing his teeth. I just cannot tolerate it. I would not have married him if he had been using snuff before we got together. I do not want his mouth anywhere near me. And yes, we have talked. He knows I hate it. Story 13. I wish I could tell him that what he sees in the mirror is not what he actually looks like and that he would believe it. My husband has severe body dysmorphia stemming from being very overweight in childhood and early adulthood. He is currently the fittest he has ever been, cycling and running regularly, and training for a marathon at the moment. I wish he could see himself as I see him. He looks amazing. Story 14. He is a private person, so he likes to keep a lot to himself, sometimes including important information. Sometimes I wish he would be more open and tell me what is going on in his life, especially when it is something bad and I feel that he should want to talk it out. I know that is not how he is wired though, so nagging him about it will lead nowhere. Story 15. One time I was feeling very insecure and down, coupled with anxiety and people-pleasing tendencies. I was approached by a sales lady to avail of a promotional package. There were 3 packages, but I only wanted a facial. They were aggressive, constantly talking about what a great deal they were offering. It was confusing and overwhelming. The next thing I knew, I swiped my credit card for a 2-year membership at supposedly 1/3 of the original price and received a bunch of coupons for different special facials. It was around $900 when converted from my currency. I am a stay-at-home mom, and half of it was from my last savings from my previous job. He does not know this until now. I have to ask him for money to pay my credit card bills. He knows exactly what I spend on because I need to ask him monthly for credit card payments to painstakingly finish the debt. I deactivated my credit card after that so I would not be able to add more charges. However, interest adds up, so the payment process is slow. Only my sister knows because I called her in a panic when everything sank in. I wish I could tell him. I know he would not be angry, but he would be disappointed, and that feels worse. Every month, the statement of account rolls in, and the same heavy feeling returns until I find the courage to say I need to pay again, fearing he will finally ask why since he provides as best as he can for me. And when I manage to pay, it is another week of crippling guilt until I forget about it for a while, and the statement of account comes again. I understand this might not be what the original poster is asking or expecting as an answer, but I needed to let it out somewhere, even if only for a brief moment. Sorry. Story 16. I have been crushing on him since we were kids until now. But no, I am too shy to do that. Maybe when we are well into our 60s, but not right now. I cannot let him know I have been head over heels way back then. My ego will not let me. Story 17. I really need daily compliments or affirmations that you love me and find me attractive. Words of affirmation are my love language. 1. You look pretty a week is not enough. Story 18. My interests do not align with theirs, nor do they meet or attempt to meet my needs in the relationship. They inform me of what I am slacking on, that they need to feel cared for and loved, but they dismiss and make no effort to meet my needs for care and love. At this point, it feels like I am just their living doll, so they do not feel isolated and alone. Story 19. My ex flat out refused to discuss her weight gain with me in any significant way. She would bring up that she was gaining weight and unhappy about it. I asked questions, but she quickly became defensive and emotional, then shut down the conversation. That was difficult because it was clearly impacting her mental and physical health, but she simply would not discuss it. Eventually, we stopped communicating effectively because it always went the same way. She would shut down and refuse to discuss the subject further if it was difficult for her. The only way to continue was to start an argument. Story 20. I'm no longer with this person, but one thing I always wanted to resolve during the relationship, and did try once before realizing it was pointless, was the fact that it was impossible to have a serious conversation. It did not matter what the topic was. She would find a way to turn it into a joke or something non-serious. It was like dating a teenager who was actually 27. Story 21. The repeated conversation about why he does not properly clean up after himself includes bottle caps, wrappers, and not wiping down the counters. Story 22. She is the best, and I can talk to her about anything. Okay, maybe there are some taboo fetishes I am into that I do not talk about because those are probably just for me. Story 23. Her inability to be honest and her inability to communicate frustrate me. When I try to talk, it just turns into an argument. Then she gets mad that I do not talk to her. I feel like I am stranded on an island where anything I do or say is wrong. No matter how much effort I put in or how hard I try, I never seem to be enough. Story 24. I wish I could make him communicate more. I ask about his day and get only a little information. Later, when we are chatting with a friend, he tells a whole story about what happened at work, and I get none of that. I have tried asking follow-up questions, but I still do not get much. I also wish he would say something if he is annoyed, but instead, he lets it build up inside. I do not mind if it is negative. I just want more words. I should also state that we are not completely silent. We have many shared interests and regularly talk about them, but there is nothing about him, how he feels, or what he did. Story 25. My insecurities are multiple and overwhelming. I could use reassurance, but I am also aware that insecurity is the most unattractive thing to women, so I keep it to myself and try to talk it out in therapy or through journaling. Still, none of that would compare to spontaneously hearing something from her. The other concern is her dental health. She won't make a dentist appointment, and when she smokes, it's awful. I feel like it would be a huge fight to tell her how bad her breath can be at those times. Story 26. Not really a big deal, but I guess existential topics like how vast the universe is and if there are aliens out there. Not serious conversations, just casual talks about all the unknown things in the world. To me, those conversations are fun and exciting. To her, they are overwhelming, which I can understand. Story 27. There are subjects I have brought up but do not push hard on. For example, I would like him to go on attention deficit hyperactivity disorder medication because he comes home drained from having to focus at work. Story 28. I wish she could remember to put things back after using them. She knows where things are to use them but does not remember where to put them after use. It is not a big deal, but it drives me nuts. Story 29. I wish we could have honest, upbeat, and constructive conversations without you being under the influence of marijuana, Red Bull, or alcohol. It is also the only time you freely express affection and desire toward me. I have tried to have the conversation, but I am told that is not true, and my concerns are quickly dismissed. Story 30. Circumcision. I think it is barbaric, and I would never allow it to happen to my child. However, if I bring it up now, she will create massive drama. Her religious beliefs seem to be heavily invested in the genital mutilation of baby boys. Story 31. I want to tell my boyfriend I am feeling a little unwell and want to stay in bed for a while. However, every time I do, he frantically asks me to call in sick for work and acts irritated when I refuse. Story 32. Spending too much time on electronic devices when we should be spending more time with each other. Prioritizing extended family more than ourselves. Story 33. His weight gain concerns me. I do not need him to be ripped or slender, but he keeps gaining weight. From large to extra large, then to double extra large, and now he is triple extra large. What will happen in the long term? I do not like it when he gets out of breath walking or cannot find something in the lower cupboards because he cannot bend down. He has been diagnosed with non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, but still has not made any changes. He is in denial about his addiction to food. Story 34. In the past, I could not bring up my sex addiction with my partner. While I never cheated during relationships, it became very evident early on that I am not well and constantly need sex, which ruined the relationships. Recently, I started a relationship with a much younger woman. She was one of about 6 friends with benefits I had to fulfill my needs. It turned out she was addicted as I was, so I ended all other relationships and am now exclusive with her. Yes, we can talk about our sex addiction with each other. I don't know how long this will last, but it has been going on for 2 years now and seems to be holding. Story 35. I ordered crochet figurines of our deceased pet as little mementos, but I cannot tell him because it is a surprise. It is eating me up so much, but I cannot spoil it. Story 36. I'm tired of him hanging around with a sexist person, but the guy is the only family he has, so I cannot say anything. Story 37. I do not find long hair attractive on men. He would look better if he cut it short. However, I will not say that because it is a cultural thing for him, and it is his hair to do what he pleases. He would never make a comment like that to me. Story 38. Him saying he is hurt every time I tell him I am hurting just means we are clearly incompatible. Also, his road rage is a deal breaker, which he knows, but what he does not know is that after a year of me telling him and trying to help, the most recent incident has left me going through the motions. Mentally, I no longer consider us together. I retreat to solitude every moment I get. It is peaceful without him. We are better off as friends. I would talk about it, but he does not listen. So here I am. Story 39. His mental health and communication. I love him, and I've come to terms with the fact that my own mental health isn't great. However, I try to communicate when I'm struggling so he doesn't feel neglected by my silence. He is the opposite. He will go silent because life isn't going well for him, won't respond, and will have his phone on Do Not Disturb. This causes me to worry because we are in a long-distance relationship and don't share locations. I am left wondering for hours, sometimes days, hoping nothing has gone wrong, especially since his living situation is not ideal. Story 40. I wish I could tell her to eat better with more vegetables and greens without it being dismissed or leading to an argument. Also, when we have the money, buy yourself the clothes and shoes you want instead of buying things for everyone else that they do not need. Story 41. My stomach issues have persisted since I do not have a gallbladder and underwent weight loss surgery. Bad days are difficult days. Story 42. Finances. She absolutely will not discuss long-term plans or my plans to pay off debt. She said it is too boring. Story 43. Doing basic things I consider basic, like peeling potatoes with just a knife, carving a chicken, cooking burgers without needing a timer, and fixing small issues in the apartment without bothering maintenance, who are hard to reach anyway. My boyfriend and I come from completely different backgrounds. He is from northern Louisiana, in a heavily populated area, from a family that would just call someone to fix things or buy ready-made items. Meanwhile, I grew up in southern Louisiana, in a remote Cajun farming community, practically raised in my parents' specialty meat market. We had to become a figure-it-out-yourself family because it is not easy to get help when Gonna Town is a 15-minute drive away, or to find someone who could come out quickly. So when I get frustrated that my boyfriend peels potatoes with a knife, looks lost fixing a frozen AC filter, or struggles to carve a baked chicken, I have to remind myself we come from two different worlds, be patient, and show him how it's done a few times until he learns. Even when he asks how I know the burgers are cooked through, I have to remember it is a genuine question for him, so I show him how I know. It can be frustrating, but I avoid focusing on that because we were raised very differently. Our different cultures sometimes cause small conflicts, like how our families find each other strange since they are very different. The first time they met was extremely awkward for both. Still, this is the partnership I chose, and I have to remind myself to be patient in moments like these. He makes an effort, and those moments are now rare. I also avoid discussing this to not hurt the confidence I helped him build. Story 44. My past intimate life includes funny or crazy stories about former partners, as well as surprising or entertaining experiences. Story 45. I wish he would just look down when walking and pay attention to everything. I don't understand. He steps on cat vomit, random spilled or dropped items, and tracks them through the house, then looks at me as if I am unreasonable for being annoyed. I have lost count of the things broken from being stepped on that were hard to replace or unnecessary to be broken in the first place. It feels like a whole other level of deliberate incompetence. Story 46. I wish I could talk to her about my mental health struggles without feeling like I am burdening her, because she deals with so much on her own. Story 47. I've brought it up enough times, but he has been unreceptive, so I think I am on the verge of not saying anything more about it. My husband is a left-lane cruiser who drives whatever speed he wants in the left lane and says if people want to pass, they can pass him on the right. It is so frustrating since it is selfish and inconsiderate. He is really not like that in general, but for some reason, he just does not want to hear anything about getting out of the left lane if people are passing him on the right. Story 48. I wish he would pay more attention to me, but between work and our child, he has no energy to talk to me. The only time he wants to spend with me is watching television or playing video games. He doesn't want to talk. However, I should be grateful he is an attentive father. Our child comes first. I should appreciate that he even wants to watch television or play games with me. It is more than my ex-husband gave me. So, I don't tell him I need more because he will feel guilty. Story 49. Many people remain in relationships with someone they are clearly incompatible with. Life is too short. Story 50. If you are getting bored, I was deeply in love with my ex, but complacency can be a death knell to a relationship. By the time I truly identified what was going wrong and what I needed to do, we were too far gone in the opposite direction. At least our breakup was done without any actual fighting or arguing, just two flames that burned out on each other. Story 51. I am very lucky in the sense that I do not think there is anything I would not be able to talk to my husband about. Story 52. I want to live with him, but I cannot because we are not married yet. He is hesitant to take that big step because of the resistance he will face from his parents. Sometimes I wonder if we should even get married. Will he change into someone I do not recognize? He loves me a lot, but I do not know how things will change with his family involved. I want to talk to him about this openly, but I am unable to do so. Story 53. I am genuinely tired, and I want him to be more proactive in looking for a job. I have told him this many times. I know the job market is difficult, but he either does not apply to many jobs or does not tell me much about it. One can still be hopeful. Story 54. I know the things he says about the lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender community, and about people of color like me when I'm not around. He pretends I don't exist. He initially uninvited me from his wedding due to numbers. He is a person everyone else loves and tolerates because they are white, moderately wealthy, able-bodied, and straight. I am seriously concerned that one day I will have enough of it and respond with violence, which could ruin how others see me. I am tired of being blatantly othered by him, both around other people and when alone. He acts like I am not there. Story 55. How lonely I feel in our relationship because he doesn't even try to meet me halfway when it comes to any form of affection shown outside of the bedroom. He always hides behind the fact that his family isn't very affectionate, but neither is mine. Over time, I've learned that it's because he's scared of appearing awkward or silly, even in front of me. I hate that other people can barely tell we're a couple because he thinks people cringe at the slightest public display of affection, like holding hands. I really wish he could just live in the moment more and stop caring so much about what others think. Story 56. He needs to take better care of his skin by using appropriate soaps for his face, body, and skin type. He also needs to take moisturizing seriously. Story 57. I get antsy when we spend all of our downtime bumming around and watching television. It makes me feel like I am wasting time. I want the time and space to be a creative person. Also, I wish he would read the book on female anatomy and technique that I bought for him. Otherwise, he is an angel. Story 58. Okay, so personally, I smoke cannabis and have a significant problem with nicotine, specifically vaping. My boyfriend does not engage in these activities. He is very anti-smoking and has only tried cannabis a few times. I am trying to gradually wean myself off vaping, but I feel he does not understand from a sober perspective. He has never tried to quit because he never started, so he does not fully grasp the mental dependency or oral fixation involved. He just wants me to stop easily. But I find it difficult to explain that it is not that simple for me. Story 59. How horrible his parents make me feel about myself. He wants them in his life so badly, but they are so awful to me. Story 60. How I feel underappreciated or undervalued in the relationship, even though I know he cannot baby me because he is a busy man with many responsibilities. Sometimes, I wish he could be sweeter to me and show me some affection regularly. Story 61. I fart around him. It's 3.5 years in and I still go to the bathroom, turn the fan on, and pass gas. Then I spray lovely smelling perfume and leave, completely pretending I did not just leave an unpleasant smell behind. He looks at me each time, and I know he wants to say something, but he just gives me this handsome, crazy smile. I don't give him or myself the satisfaction of ever talking about my farts. I'm just slightly self-conscious about it. But we talk about everything else under the sun, maybe even too much. Story 62. How horrific the abuse I endured was. I don't know if I was ever an alcoholic. I don't think I was because I always could have 1 or 2 drinks and be done. The benders were always triggered by the inability to actually confront what happened to me. To this day, every once in a while I will have a drink here or there with no issues. No desire for more than 2 and rarely even 1 now. I wish I could tell my spouse how sorry I am, but when I go down that rabbit hole, it's all going to come out, and I don't think I'll ever be ready for that. I wish I could tell him I feel great shame for not stopping sometimes. I just hurt so badly. The only way I could sleep without nightmares was to be so drunk I would pass out into a dreamless black. I am so sorry for any damage I did to our relationship, to the relationships with our friends. I am sorry I am not a whole person. I am sorry for every time I embarrassed you. I wish I had a better reason, but I don't. My body couldn't deal with the repressed memories. My ex, different from my spouse, spent a year drugging me to make raping me easier, more fun, or different. Suspecting was one thing, but finally knowing has been an emotional spiral. I wish I could tell him how deeply sorry I am for marrying him. He deserves better. He deserves a partner, and I don't know if I'll ever be that. Story 63. My wife and I had been dating for a little over a year when she had knee surgery in 2020. We had just moved in together a few weeks before. A little over a year later, she had a major head injury that caused many additional challenges. Within the next 8 months, she had 2 more abdominal surgeries. I went from being a partner, someone excited to move in with their girlfriend in a new city, to being a full-time caretaker, nurse, and main breadwinner. I sometimes wonder what our lives would have been like if things had been different. A lot has happened since then, and I feel lucky to be able to say that I am genuinely happy, so I would never bring this up to her. Story 64. Nothing. I never talked to any of my previous relationships about being genderqueer and hadn't told her anything for the first 10 years. When I did, she just said she loved me even more now. I love this angel. Story 65. When people die, the family usually divides. My significant other is almost 40 and has never lost anyone close in his family. A few friends to unfortunate events, but never family. I do not have the heart to tell him money absolutely demolishes any type of family you have left. Story 66. Most normal couple stuff. Things get swept under the carpet a lot. He keeps to himself. His mother passed away when he was young, in his late teens or early 20s, while he was caring for his younger brother. He refused to talk to anyone. He has had almost all of his immediate family pass away and will not talk to anyone. I feel like I barely know him because he will not open up even to me, his wife. Story 67. There is nothing that I cannot talk about with him, from embarrassing medical situations to concerns I have. However, I grew up in a household where expressing my feelings or accidentally breaking or spilling something resulted in either the silent treatment or verbal abuse. I recently reminded my mother that we should take our cat to the veterinarian, which resulted in a full-blown rant and guilt trip about how busy she is. I guess the only thing I wish I could say is everything, without feeling a giant anvil thrown at my chest and being okay when he is angry so that I can prioritize his feelings more. I know I can talk about anything with him, but when it comes to times when I was stupid or messed up in some way, I am terrified that he will be angry. I understand that part of having a partner is cooperating and knowing that we will not be happy all the time and will occasionally argue or be frustrated with each other. I know that this is mostly my problem, but I wish I could be normal. I hate my anxiety with strong passion. Story 68. Nothing. We talk about everything. Following up on what we agreed to, though, is another matter. Story 69. His pornography usage presents a fine line between "Am I being too controlling?" and "I deserve a man whose eyes do not wander." Story 70. I know he communicates with women on dating sites, Instagram, and Facebook using several aliases. Every time I try to talk about it, I am called crazy. I no longer mention it because if he were not here, he would be living in his car. His health would deteriorate since his heart is very weak. Yes, I may sound foolish, but I am a very caring person. Story 71. The weight. I doubt it will change for her despite the efforts, her saying she is tired and ready to make a change, not liking how she looks, wanting to fit into the clothes she wants, and saying she will reach her target. I will still compliment her, tell her she looks good, go with her to sports, help with meal preparation, and try to boost her confidence when she says she will achieve her weight loss goal. But in my heart, I do not think she will. She eats too much, too often, and lacks consistency despite my efforts to help. I suspect she wants more body positivity for herself rather than weight loss, and that is fine, but I wish she would be honest about it. I am overweight, down from obese, and still trying. She still has obesity, but I have pretty much accepted this is how it will be unless she does something different. We are in our early 30s, so she has not encountered much trouble yet, but it is coming. Story 72. He overshared about his past, and when I was bothered, he stopped and changed. However, the oversharing damaged our relationship, and we are recovering from it. It bothers me that he turned around and said none of it was his fault, and he told me that when we were friends, except that is not true. The first 2 times, sure, but I expected him to know better and not talk about that or anyone else once we were in a relationship. The fact that he has changed his behavior makes me not want to bring up the role he played in the turmoil of our relationship, but I resent him for it happening in the first place and even more for putting me through a mental hell that he has taken no accountability for. I have proof that what he is claiming is completely false, but it is just not worth it. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.